I want you to imagine a game that promised to redefine its genre and was eagerly anticipated by almost 500,000 people worldwide. But before its story could even unfold, it became entangled in a web far beyond the digital realm. What is up, party people? Today I'm Conduit, and we're going to dive into a story that's not as simple as it seems. This video is about a game that was set to take the world by storm, but instead, I believe it found itself in the crosshairs of the Chinese Communist Party, or the CCP as I will be saying in this video. This isn't just a tale of the development challenges or market struggles of a small indie game. Instead, it's a story about how what I believe was a groundbreaking game became a victim of a far-reaching political decisions and censorship laws that the CCP regularly uses that have not impacted just this game or developer, but the entire creative industry in China. I want to explore how this game fell victim to the CCP's censorship and how the gaming industry and community have reacted. I mean, spoiler alert, they haven't. Nobody cares, but I do. So buckle up as we delve into the complex world of Nobody the Turnaround, the best game that you cannot play, and the unsurprising reasons behind its untimely fate. I'll talk about what the game is and was before diving into how the CCP stopped it in its tracks. The game, Nobody the Turnaround, is a life simulation game and what the developers describe in a parallel world like ours. You play as the regular nobody in a modern Chinese metropolis. You know, not somebody with special powers or a good education or a privileged family, but as a hardworking everyman. You work terrible manual labor jobs until you're able to specialize or learn more skills and get better paying jobs. The game aims to simulate real life where you have to balance work and play and relationships. I mean, your character has to make enough money to sleep, eat, take care of any injuries that happen on the job. You definitely don't have insurance. I mean, they even promised in later updates to have a fully fledged romance system, being able to interact with multiple NPCs, each having their own unique storyline. I mean, it was never meant to be, though. You can check their Steam page today, and it's like a Japanese soldier still fighting after the war is over. That thing's still up. They still say they'll be back soon. I mean, you can do everything except buy the damn game. Now, all the reviews are now negative from what used to be positive due to the developers going dark. So this game was rather hyped. I don't know if I'm using that word too liberally. The developers claim that the demo was downloaded 1.1 million times and it was wishlisted 400,000 times. So the only way to play it is pirating it, which I'm obviously not endorsing. That is bad, you know. Do not steal from companies, obviously. But this is the only way to play this special game that was destroyed. And if you're really interested in playing it, you might want to check out the link I have in the description. It might help you play the game. I don't know. You know, I don't really know what goes down in there. The editor takes care of that. It's a whole thing. But anyway, so the only version you can get is whether you bought it day one or you can get it through other means. Those are the only two people who have access to this game. So you have two different types of game modes when you boot it up. You have the debt trap scenario, which it seems like the developers put a lot of effort into. There's a lot of story in it. I think it's a pretty touching story. You play as a young man from the countries whose dad had a 10,000 yuan debt to loan sharks, and he put you and the rest of the family as co-sponsors on it. So now, once your dad ran off, you became responsible for it. And if you don't pay the loan shark the $10,000 debt in 1 month, then they're going to take your sister and make her work, you know. So this is a bit of the learning game mode. It gives you a lot of hints. It helps you out a little bit. You're still going to have to discover a lot for yourself. So right after the little prologue plays, you make it to the city, and a nice landlady comes up and offers you a free room for the night to see how you like it, and gives you some advice that sleeping outside is very bad for your health. Then you'll head over to the job fair and you take a quick vocational test to see if you're qualified to take classes to learn the trades. So most of these questions are math, and then one of them is just knowing the alphabet. Some of these questions will trip you up. I mean, if you fail, don't feel bad. The game tells you that the questions were taken from a real test given to workers and 40% of them failed. After taking the test, you then just head over to the regular job board, which is where you'll be getting jobs for the majority of the game until you have a good relationship with the employers, and then you can work with them without the middleman. The only job you're qualified for at the start is bricklaying. Now, the jobs in this game, they're all pretty fun mini games, and the better you play and the better your related skills are to that, the more money you make, so you get bonuses for doing more work. And then after you get a high score, you think, you can just press auto and it'll give you the money, the most money that you've ever made before. So I think, they're fun to do, but you don't have to keep on doing them every single day. But after your first day on the job, the foreman at the construction site keeps some of the money from you as a first day fee, as he calls it. And when you ask for your money and tell him that that's illegal, him and his goons beat you up. And that's how your first day in the city ends. I think it's a pretty good intro and shows you what it's like for what I'm assuming is the modern Chinese worker. Again, when I talk about the the socioeconomic situation in China, please understand I'm from America. I only know things I read about, watch YouTube videos on, see those terrible live leaks, from whatever other sources of information I get things. I am not from there. I cannot speak if this is an accurate first-hand experience. I'm imagining it as it is because, I think everybody knows China's not great for workers. So the second day is a bit better. You get to go lay bricks again, but this time on the way out, you meet a nice supervisor who needs 8 yuan to buy him lunch. So you should probably give him the money. He'll pay you back tomorrow, and then he'll also refer you to the construction site, so you don't have to pay a fee to work anymore. Now, in this game mode, every day, at the start of the day, you're going to need to pay a 100 yuan interest payment to the loan shark. But after working for the third day, you can level up your character. I haven't mentioned this yet, but depending on your level, that decides how clean you have to be and what type of food you like and where you want to live and what jobs you can work. But you start as a sorry ass, but after working for 3 days, you become a nobody, and that unlocks a security guard job and some better physical labor jobs. Now, what I haven't mentioned is that since you stay in a crappy hostel, you probably don't have access to your own shower yet, so you have to clean yourself in bathrooms, and you have a 1/3 chance every time of getting sick when you wash up. Your clothes also get dirty every time you work, so you have to make sure to stay up late a few days and buy clothes from peddlers on the road for cheap, since you're not going to have money for nice store brand clothes. And your character also loses something on his stat bar called cool when your clothes are dirty. And if you run out of cool, you are just done with the game. It takes into account your mood, to how hungry you are, as I mentioned, if you're dirty. But there's a lot of things you can do to increase that. Your mood can be improved by relaxing, reading books, playing games in the park. A lot of these things are also mini games, which is pretty fun. I mean, you can go to the internet cafe, get a massage. I mean, this game is a pretty in-depth life simulator, I think. So after a few days in game of getting better paying jobs, paying off your interest payments, your sister comes to visit after work one day. You come and pick her up from the bus station, and she gives you terrible news. And she also has an envelope of 20,000 yuan, which is a down payment on the dowry to marry her off, which your mom is trying to do. Your sister fled home, so you could try to figure out what to do together. So you basically have 3 options to decide what to do with the money. You can pay off the loan shark and have 10k left over to try to get another 10k to pay off the wedding debt. Or you can return the money and try with your original goal of earning 10k to just pay off the loan shark. Or you could keep all the money and try to flip the money into enough to pay off everybody. I recommend you pay off the loan shark because with your sister living with you, you need an apartment to stay at, which is a huge upgrade, which costs money. But you do get a lot of perks. You can now watch TV for entertainment. You can take actual showers. You are able to wash your clothes in a washer and dryer instead of just selling them once they're ruined from working in them so many days. And with your sister, you can also start opening up a peddler stand around the city once it hits dusk time or around 5 p.m. The system, I think it's pretty cool. I wish they would have fleshed it out more, if they hadn't been shut down. But you buy stuff in bulk on your phone off of eBay, and then you can resell it in different spots around the city for profit. I think this game really just has so much infrastructure in place that shows that they had big plans for this game, that there was going to be a lot more to do. You can even experience that more once you get into free play mode, but I'll talk about that later. So during this period, you also meet a girl that you talk to in the beginning. She's the one who gave you the vocational test, and you start to flirt with her a little bit, and it even introduces you to the concept of leaving the city map where you live and work and shows multiple parts of the cities you can travel to. But then tragedy strikes because when you come home after hanging out with the girl, your sister leaves your apartment and she said that she's going to find a new factory job in the country that pays well because she doesn't want you to have to suffer for her mistake. So now it's up to you to make sure that you pay back the debt before time runs out. That way your sister can come back and live with you. So that is the debt trap scenario. I recommend you play it for yourself. But after playing through the debt trap, win or lose, you unlock free mode, which allows you to play with no goals, no help. You create a character and you set your own goals, work what jobs you want. There's not a time limit on how many days you can play. I mean, they really have so much. There's so many jobs. They have the full tree up. You can buy houses. I mean, they really just have so much in here. I struggle to say this, but it honestly gives me like some Disco Elysium vibes. I think also just because it's now an abandoned project. I think the writing just in the Debt Trap one is pretty cool. I think this game is so unique that it just gives you an insight into something that we just don't see it often in the West. I mean, we hear about sweatshops and, slave labor like conditions, but it's just another thing to play through it, especially by people who I'm imagining went through it themselves or knew something about it. It's just incredible for a studio's first game. I mean, it's just unique. It's incredible. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the reasons that you can no longer buy it. So, this is not confirmed by anything, but I do want to talk about my theory and I would say the community's theory at large about why you can no longer play it. So, this game was developed by Uground Game Studios. This is the only game they have ever published. They are a Chinese studio. It was published by Thermite Games, which are a Hong Kong-based publishing company. They have published a couple of other Chinese developed games. They're still up on Steam. The official Discord of Nobody the Turnaround is disabled. And after the first day of the game being for sale, it was taken off the Steam store. According to the developers, it was for issues with people on older window models not being able to play properly. And I just call bullshit. Even if that was an issue that was affecting people, I don't think that's severe enough for any company to pull it off the Steam store entirely. So this game came out in 2022, 2 years after the biggest pro-democracy protest in Hong Kong against the Chinese government and the CCP. I think that's when the game first started getting developed, in my opinion. I think these developers clearly wanted to show that the system in China isn't a good one or a sustainable one. I mean, and the thing about China is the Chinese government does not care how powerful you are. If you criticize the government and system, they lock you up. You can just look at Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba, considered Chinese Amazon, a huge company. He was locked up for subversion just for lightly saying that the Chinese government could be more efficient. So, I mean, who really knows what could happen to a small-time video game development studio? I have reached out to the publisher of the game and asked if anything is going to happen to the property. I've received no response. I have no clue what happened to the developers. There's no website. There's no Discord. No new news since being taken off of Steam. So, my theory of events is that in 2019 to 2020, development of the game starts. Some Chinese developers wanted to show what it was like to be the average nobody in China. They find a publisher who has experience marketing Chinese games to the West in the same exact city as them, Hong Kong. And then in early 2022, they are featured on the Steam Demo Fest where they get mass attention and hype. The game then continues to develop and release. Then one day later, due to big government intervention and the CCP not wanting a semi-popular game that makes them look bad, shuts down the studio and does God knows what to the developers. I really do hope that they're safe, but I have no clue. They've gone completely dark. It really just makes me sad to think that a great creative project was shut down by the government just because it made them look bad. I just think that's no way for a society to be run. I know I'm going to take that controversial hot take, but I really do hope that someday the developers can continue to work on it. Or I hope that they're able to find work again in game development. I think they all have a lot of talent. I hope that maybe somebody picks up the mantle, buys the property. I don't know. Maybe modders take over. But I just think that this game just can't. It just can't be thrown away. It's so incredible. There's so much work put into it, and now it's nothing. It's abandonware. It's impossible to get unless you're willing to break the law, and that's just terrible. Well, that's all I've got. It's been Conduit. If you watch it all the way through, like, subscribe, and remember, Jesus loves you.